Hello everyone, John Maher here, and this is your weekly Grass10 update on the dairy edge. It's the start of a new season and a new year in 2026, and I suppose this podcast is really about getting ready for the start of the grazing season. And we also have Nutrient Management Week coming up next week in the plans for the year ahead in terms of nutrient application, because it's going to be important given the challenges that have come along with around milk price and trying to get as much grass into the diet as possible for the year ahead. So we'll start off with a little bit of a pre-grazing checklist to establish what grass is on the farm, to check the gateways, the handles, and the water trucks before things get busy and that all is okay. Having a grazing plan, especially for the wet weather, that the pigtails and the reels are all ready for dealing with conditions that can often prevail in February and March, and also to have a slurry and fertilizer plan, which is part of Nutrient Management Week, which kicks off next Monday. But before any of that, I suppose there's no harm that we just take a quick check on where we are in terms of soil fertility. Now is a great time to soil sample, if not already done. And I suppose the one that sticks out like a sore thumb when you do the soil sample analysis first is where the fields are in terms of lime requirement or pH. And there may be opportunity at this time of year to spread lime. It's the cheapest source of nutrients that any farmer can get their hands on, simply because it unlocks nutrient from the soil, whether it's nitrogen, especially phosphorus, and also K. So if the farm is behind on lime from 2025, now is maybe an opportune moment to get lime spread before things get busy. It'll depend a bit on the weather, and I understand all that. But there's a fabulous return from lime in terms of the nutrients that it provides, and it also does things like enabling ryegrass to survive and clover to establish and things like that. Speaking of sources of nutrients, every 1,000 gallons of slurry is worth about €30. So we have to get the best from that too. We're coming to the time now that many farms will soon be able to apply slurries. So you obviously need to be mindful of the ground conditions and look at the weather forecast to target slurry in the right field, at the right time, at the right rate. This is something now that's going to become more into focus as we enter into the new era of the nitrate action plan, and which largely is focusing more on the distribution of nutrients around the farm. So it's easy for me to say this, but applying slurry to a field beside the yard that's for grazing, that's already at index 4 for P and K, may not make the most sense. It might make the most sense from the point of view of the farmer getting slurry out onto a paddock that can take slurry. But in terms of efficient use of nutrients, this is a different ball game now. And depending on what way the farm is set up, stocking rates, out farms, all like that, the export of nutrients is there now. And I suppose people like me will ask that the slurry goes to silage ground largely, and low index ground in terms of P and Ks, silage ground in particular, because there's no recycling of nutrient in the grazing scenario. 90% of the K is recycled, and most of the P is recycled. But once you do silage, all the P and K is removed, especially K. So the slurry needs to be targeted towards the silage ground. Now, that's easier said than done at this time of year, but I suppose every farm needs to be more focused on the distribution of nutrients within the farm now than ever before, given the changes in regulations as well. I suppose, speaking of Nutrient Management Week starts next Monday. It's a series of expert voices, practical tips, all done in 1 week. Mixture of Teagasc people, industry people, and quite a good few farmers, and telling their story on how they go about making best use of nutrient on the farm. So it kicks off on Monday with the Dairy Ed podcast with Stuart Childs, who's joined by Pat Toohey, looking at the whole area of slurry and soil water requirements for livestock going ahead. This is coming down the road at us, and it also gives the opportunity to be a bit more flexible in terms of nutrient application now. And then Philip Murphy, who's the coordinator in the Blackwater catchment for the Farming for Water campaign, and how to make the best use of these nutrients and avoid any of the losses. So they kick off Monday. Then we move on to, that's the Dairy Ed podcast. Then we go on to a series of short Grass10 podcasts through the week with many different people. So we kick off Tuesday with slurry nitrogen spring and how to maximize it with Michael Carroll, who's a dairy farmer from Granite, County Limerick. I'm doing a bit myself then on the whole area of fertilizer timing, soil fertility, rates, economic responses, all that on the Wednesday to, I suppose, get farmers thinking about, the challenges ahead in terms of soil fertility and getting the best bang for your buck in what looks like a difficult year ahead in terms of price of milk and therefore availability of money to spend on this. But it's not something that we'd be suggesting and farmers cut back on. I can quote my friend Jerry, the farmer, who tells me the four most important things are lime, P, K, and reseeding. And I suppose we'll follow that mantra through the season. On the Thursday then is the fertilizer plan, especially in spring, with Mike Ahern, who is our current Grassland Farmer of the Year winner. And he's going to talk about fertilizer application, a little bit on soil fertility, maximizing growth, and using GPS technology on his farm. And then finally, on the last day of the week, we have John Corbett from Grassland Agro, who's just going to give you a few pieces of advice and reminders about having your fertilizer spreader in tip-top shape for the year ahead. During the week then as well, we have a webinar on Thursday night with myself and Sean McMahon from Grassland Agro. And we just need to have a question and answer session really as such. And the social media will provide the opportunity for you to put in questions during the week so that myself and Sean can answer those, largely focus on navigating the fertilizer decisions in 2026 and talk about strategies for a change in landscape in the year ahead. And I suppose fundamentally we're trying to get the best out of the fertilizer use on the farm and make sure that whatever is used is doing everything to improve the efficiency of nutrient use on the farm. We also have some videos relating to some of those speakers as well, going out through social media. And John Fox, who's a farmer from County Limerick, will do a little bit of piece on that for us as well. So that's the story of Nutrient Management Week ahead. It's a case of short podcasts, a little bit of social media, webinar, a few videos, just to get us ready for the year ahead. If you would like to hear more then from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc Public website. And the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. We'd like to thank all those who support the Grass10 campaign, AIB, Grassland Agro, Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine, FBD and the Farmers Journal. This has been your Grass10 update, and I will talk to you all next week when we start off with some grass figures as well. Best of luck, and we'll see you all next week during Nutrient Management Week. Thank you.